Hi there, and welcome back to Inktober Tangles 2025. I'm Martha, a CZT, and I'm here to lead you through day 9, which is the Lilife tangle. As usual, I'll be taking you through two versions of this tangle. We'll start with something simple, and then we will move on and push the boundaries just a little bit in the second version. To start with the simple version, I'm using a bijou tile. I'm going to start by adding 4 corner dots, and then I'm going to connect them with that pencil line to create a border. Using a Pigma Micron 01 pen in black, I'm going to create a wavy line from the top to the bottom of the border. So out, in, out, and in. Going to do a second set of lines. Again, out, in, and then in, out, and in. There are now 5 seed-like spaces that I'm going to aura inside of. So this is our first one. I'm going to come below. Sorry, my thumb is in the way here. And I'm just auraing. So I'm drawing and mimicking the line right next to it and filling in those 5 spaces. I'm also going to do this one at the top, even though you only see half of it, and then the space at the bottom where you see another half. Inside each of these spaces we just created, I'm going to draw a teardrop or raindrop shape at the bottom of each of those, what is it, 7, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. And then above that raindrop or teardrop, I'm going to draw a vertical line down from the top, kind of dividing that into 2 different spaces. I'm going to draw a series of parallel lines on the right side of that line in each of the areas. And I do apologize for the camera. It tends to focus in on my hand and not my drawing from time to time. So just some vertical lines on the right side of that center line. Next, I'm going to come in with some graphite on the opposite side of that dividing line. So on the right side, we have parallel lines, and on the left side, we have some graphite. I'm just going to blend it in now with my tortillon just to soften up. Oh, and here's a little trick if you don't know about this. If your tortillon gets bent down, unwind a paper clip and then stick the end into the tortillon and press out the tip. Just a little tip about those blending stumps if they start to get too dull. Oh, one last step. Let's add a little bit of black to that raindrop or teardrop shape that's at the bottom. We always want a nice balance of black and white, and this tangle is pretty light, so adding these little black spots really helps give it a little bit more variation. And there we go. That's Inktober Tangles 2025 Day 9, Lilife Tangle. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct. This is a new tangle for me, but it's a new tangle that I love. It reminds me a lot of Indian block print patterns that you see on handmade papers and wallpapers. It gives me peacock feather spot vibes, so very much like this one, and I really like the next version. For the next version, I'm going to be using a Renaissance tile. I'm adding my 4 corner dots with the pencil, and then I'll be connecting them to create a border. I'm now going to draw 3 dots, one at the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. And this is where I want to line up my curvy line. So I'm using a Pigma Micron 01 pen in black. So I'm going to start at the top dot, go out, and then into that middle dot, and then go back out, and then into the dot at the bottom. So again, out, in, out, and in. I'm now going to add one more set of these lines, so one on the right side. I did not use any of those guiding dots. I just tried to make it fit in between the border and the middle set of lines. So I'm going out and then in and then out and then in and then out, in, out, and in. So 3 sets of these hourglass figures. Inside each of these little pods, these little spaces that have now been created, I'm going to aura. So I'm mimicking the line right next to it, and I'm creating this little seed or maybe lemon shape. Actually, they kind of remind me of onions. There's something about this shape. All right, so I'm aura-ing inside all of these spaces. And then I'm also going to do the top and the bottom areas, or maybe you just see part of these kind of seed shapes. At the bottom of each of these little seed shapes, I'm going to draw a teardrop or a raindrop shape. And then above that raindrop or teardrop shape, I'm going to draw a vertical line to the top of the seed shape. Now I'm adding parallel lines on the right side. I mean, if you wanted to draw them on the left, you could draw them on the left. It's up to you. This is where you can take personal liberties in your art. But just a series of vertical lines from that middle line all the way to the right side. I've now switched to a Graphic 1 pen to fill in the little teardrop, raindrop shapes. I've used larger tipped pens over the years, an 08, a 10, a 12, and I like them just fine, but they tend to dry out faster for me than this pen. So if you're looking for something that covers a large area with ink, I recommend the Pigma Micron Graphic 1 pen. All right, now we're going to add a little pizzazz. I've decided to go neon pink for this, which I don't usually do, but this is a Jelly Roll 06 pen, and it's the Moonlight edition. If you want to use the specific pen, you're welcome to go back and pause the video. I tried to show the number that is on the side of the pen, so you can look it up that way and get yourself one. I don't usually do any sort of neon color on my Zentangle tiles, but I was just feeling it. It was a gloomy day when I recorded this video, and I just wanted to add a little pop of color. And then also sometimes it's just fun to get way outside the box. So instead of adding the graphite on the left side of these little seed shapes, I'm adding this neon or hot pink color. I also think if I were to redo this tile with color, I would use some sort of blue instead of the pink. And in the teardrop raindrop areas, I would use a gold jelly roll. Blue and gold are classic colors together, so I think they would work really well. But I still love this pink. The pen was giving me a little bit of a trouble for a second, so I ended up going back on top of this later to make it look neon. It was, for some reason, very muted when I colored that area. Feel free to pause this and enjoy your time coloring in, and I will meet you on the other side. I'm now going to use a white charcoal pencil to highlight the left and right sides of these little pod shapes. Just adding some white charcoal on the left and right. And now just blending it in with a tortillon. Just softening up all that charcoal, which is adding a little bit more pop to this tangle. Using a graphite pencil, I'm going to add a little shading in the area close to the little teardrop raindrop shape. So just a little. I don't want to cover up too much of that pink or that white, but I want a little bit more variation in lightness and darkness. And then softening it up with the tortillon. I think that really helps this all blend together. And there you have my take, my hot pink take on the Lilife Tangle. I'm going to go ahead and add my chop and fill out the back just so I can remember the name of this tangle if I need to reference it in the future. And that is day 9. Again, sometimes it's fun just to play around with some different colors, something you wouldn't traditionally choose, and just see what happens. I mean, you can always redraw it if you don't like it. But I really do. I guess maybe because I'm in my pink era. All right, y'all. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to tangling again with you tomorrow for day 10. All right, have a good one.